Let's talk a little college football. Week 6 of the college football season is here. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV for more college football videos. I'm Harrison Graham. He's Chase Sr. We're live on YouTube on Chat Sports for any given Thursday. Let's take a look at the Week 6 slate. So what we're going to do is break down kind of the top 5 matchups. We'll kind of go quickly on these games, and then we will take a look at our picks against the spread toward the end of the video, so make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. There's nothing like the Red River Showdown in Dallas, Texas. I still call it the Red River Rivalry, but the advertisement nerds had to go and change it on us. This is always a fun matchup. Doesn't matter if Texas is good or not. It always tends to be a good game, Chase. I think Texas could win this game, man. I really do.
I think Texas can win this game as 3.5-point underdog.
By the way, yeah, OU favored, by the way. We got that backwards.
Yeah.
Plus 3.5 for Texas for anyone who's betting at home.
Ever since Texas made the switch to Casey Thompson, they've been putting up crazy numbers offensively. Spencer Rattler, to me, just isn't it. He just isn't it. I don't see it. I don't see him being a premier quarterback prospect in a system that has produced some of the best college quarterbacks over the last couple of years. So if I'm looking at the betting line, Texas 3.5-point underdogs, I kind of like the Longhorns given the way that they've been playing and the momentum that they have on their side.
I think the key matchup in this one is Bijan Robinson against this interior.
He might be the best back in the
against this interior defensive line for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's front is pretty solid. Bijan, the offense runs through him. Casey Thompson struggled a bit against TCU, but it didn't matter because Bijan was fantastic. This will be a fantastic matchup. Real quick, plus 3.5 for Texas. Don't get confused there. Number 21, number 6, Dallas, Texas, State Fair. It's going to be lit. Type UT if you got the Texas Longhorns. Chat Sports. Type OU if you've got number 6, Oklahoma. Get your predictions in. Who you got in the Red River Showdown? Let us know down in the comments section. Okay, let's go to the SEC. Arkansas, Ole Miss, top 20 matchup. The Hogs got a bit humbled last week, to say the least, at Georgia, Chase. Ole Miss the same against Alabama. Now, this is kind of an elimination game, right? You lose this game, you're kind of – you've got a lot to play for, but you got no shot of, being kind of a sneaker – playoff/New Year's Six team. So both these teams looking to bounce back this week. Ole Miss 5.5-point favorites.
Yeah, last week I just didn't see a scenario in which Arkansas was going to get blown out. The one scenario in which I did see Arkansas getting blown out is if that offense was anemic from the jump. And they were awful last week against Georgia. Now, Georgia has a bunch of pro players on the defensive side of the football. I think they probably have the best defense in the country. And I think if they had a better quarterback, they'd be the number 1 team ahead of Alabama if those two teams were to match up against one another. But Arkansas was bad offensively, and they kept shooting themselves in the foot on the road in a hostile environment. And here you look at a game where Arkansas, Woo Pig, is once again going to be on the road against an Ole Miss team that I don't think they match up well against. Yes, last week on the show we had talked about Arkansas's defense. They're physical, they're fast, they're back. Sam Pittman has done a terrific job with that program in year 2. They deserve to be ranked. I think this year they've been one of the more impressive, not the best, one of the more impressive teams in the SEC. But I just don't think that defense matches up well against an Ole Miss offense that can light the scoreboard on fire. And an offense in Arkansas is going to have to keep up with the prolific attack of Ole Miss. I'm going Ole Miss, and I think they might cover the 5.5.
Arkansas should be able to get that power running game going a little bit more this week, but I'm kind of with you. I don't see them keeping up with Matt Corral. I think this Ole Miss offense will put up more points this week. Lane Kiffin played to win at Alabama, got stopped on 4th down the first 3 drives of that game, and the game was over. But I respect him for trying to go into Tuscaloosa and win. I think Ole Miss is a tough matchup, like you said. Arkansas will be better offensively, but can they be good enough? Can they find enough big plays? Can KJ Jefferson throw the ball some downfield? They could not throw the ball at all against Georgia. So type ARK for Arkansas, type MISS for Ole Miss. I like Mississippi in this game. I think that the Lane train has got it going there, and with it being at the Grove, Hottie Toddy is going to be fired up.
Oh, yeah.
I think Ole Miss is going to end up winning this game. By the way, 66.5 feels high in this game. The Ole Miss can move
Arkansas
the ball.
Can't really score that
this could be like, what if it's like 31-17. I feel like that could definitely be in play.
Lane,
so
I'll have my popcorn ready.
Bet the under. That is the play in this one. ARK for Arkansas or type MIS for Ole Miss. A lot more matchups to get to, but if you want to bet on these games, if you love the under like I do in that one, put your money where your mouth is with BetUS. Open a separate tab and then type this in. Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code CHAT125. That's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. You put down $100, they'll give you 125 for free, and you guys can make some money all season long at BetUS. Chase and I have done pretty well against college this year. We'll have our picks at the end of the show. We'll be sure to hook you guys up with our picks of the week. Make some money with BetUS. Chase is doing the money. Get those stacks, baby. How about Georgia at Auburn?
That was the Aaron Hernandez touchdown celebration.
Yeah, well,
not great.
May he rest in peace. 15.5-point favorites for the Dogs. Bo Nix, Chase, made some ridiculous games. Some ridiculous plays. Like, should we let him rest in peace? I don't know. That's very questionable. Bo Nix made plays last week as I try to get back on track. He's going to have the best game of his career going up against this
coming
Georgia
off the best
defense.
game of his career.
One of the best,
LSU.
yes.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, this is the best defense he'll face this year. Bo Nix, a couple of weeks ago, was on the hot seat. He got benched against Georgia Southern, Georgia State. I don't remember who it was, but he played bad. Played well against LSU. Played good enough to win at Tiger Stadium. I thought that was a big deal. Georgia's a different animal, though. At home, that helps a little bit. 3:30 kickoff in the afternoon. I think Auburn can cover maybe, but I do not love this matchup for Bo Nix against Georgia. I think that defense is going to harass him for 4 quarters.
It was a statement game for Georgia last week, and yes, they were at home, and Arkansas looked overwhelmed. They didn't look prepared for a game of that magnitude because they haven't played in a game in that magnitude in a long time.
By the way, Stetson Bennett going to start again this week.
Stetson Bennett getting the start at quarterback over JT Daniels. Georgia's defense is just way too good against an Auburn offense that has a lot of holes at wide receiver, at offensive line, really at all the skill positions offensively. Auburn has some holes.
They don't have that typical running back.
They can be exposed as well. They haven't been able to get that run game going as well. All of that just kind of falls into the lap of Georgia. I think Georgia's going to overwhelm Auburn.
If Auburn wins this game, it's because Bo Nix is the best player on the field. It's as simple as that.
He's going to have to play and pull out plays out of his ass like he did against LSU, and I don't think you can do that against a Georgia defense.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's like an NFL defense.
So predict it for us. UGA for Georgia, AUB for Auburn. I think Georgia wins. I'm not sure it's close. It's at Auburn. That helps the Tigers a bit, but I don't think nearly enough to go ahead and pull this off. So UGA for Georgia, type AUB for Auburn. Subscribe to Chat Sports if you want more college football videos. Myself, Chase, we love splicing up and chatting college football. College football playoff rankings set to come out here in about a month. We'll try to break those down for you guys as well. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. If you want the best college football coverage on YouTube, that's what we're trying to do. So hit that subscribe button. A couple more games to break down, and then we'll get to our picks of the week. Penn State at Iowa. Basically a pick 'em. It's kind of shifted between a point on either side. Chase, 1.5-point favorites for Iowa. Basically, that tells us that Vegas thinks Penn State is slightly better, but since Iowa's the home team, this game could go either way.
So this game started as a pick'em. Early money came in on Iowa because that number jumped up to 2-point favorites for the Hawkeyes, and now it's gone back to 1.5. Wouldn't surprise me if this continues to fluctuate over the next couple of days as we record this on Friday. When I look at this game, first of all, it's the best game of the weekend. Second of all, the atmosphere at Kinnick Stadium is really special. It's one of the best atmospheres in college football and just one of the best settings. This game does start at 4 o'clock Eastern, so we're going to start the game in daylight. Then we're going to see the sunset in the fields of Iowa in Iowa City. It's going to be beautiful for that telecast. Really a spectacle that we haven't seen over the last couple of years because last year we didn't see fans at Big Ten stadiums. When I break this game down, I think the defenses are about even. I might even give the edge to Penn State. That side of the ball has been dominant this year. They're coming off a shutout against Indiana. Indiana has some talent, even though they're down somewhat this year.
6 picks for Iowa's defense last week off Talua Tagovailoa in Maryland, and he's not a scrub.
But I don't expect Penn State to turn the football over
Clifford's
that much.
Playing the best ball of his career.
Yeah, he is, and he's making good decisions. He's still a little bit wobbly. He might be wobbly in this game. But defensively, again, I think I give Penn State the slight edge. And then from a skill position player standpoint, I think I go with Penn State here. They have arguably the best wide receiver in the country in Jahan Dotson. Noah Cain is a really good running back. That offensive line has been very good opening up holes for Noah Cain and that stable of running backs and protecting Sean Clifford. This is a huge game for James Franklin, arguably one of the bigger ones in his tenure as Penn State head coach. If he wants that USC gig, this is a big one right here. Now, coaching, I might side with Iowa because when it comes to game management and game strategy, James Franklin can be lacking in that department. I think that's indicated by the spread from the odds makers in Vegas of why they're going Iowa. I'm going with Penn State here, so I'm going to type my PS.
It's going to be tight. I think it comes down to quarterback play. Clifford's played better than Petros this year. Clifford, he's beyond a game manager right now. I mean, and really that's all you wanted was for him to be a game manager.
Playing like he did 2 years ago.
I think Mike Yurcich, the offensive coordinator at Penn State, should win whatever that award is called for coordinator of the year because he's gotten the most out of this quarterback. I don't think there's any doubt. Type PSU for Penn State, type Iowa for Iowa. Keep it simple there. Get your votes in this top 5 matchup. Now, LSU is not ranked, but I wanted to talk about this game, Chase, really for one reason and one reason only. LSU completely melted down late in that Auburn game. They sat on that 19-17 lead for about a quarter, and there's nothing more just scary as a fan of a team than being up either 2 or 6 points late in a game, because usually that gets you beat. And that's exactly what happened. Auburn, Bo Nix drove them down and beat them. Now LSU's 3-2, already coming off a bad season. They go to Kentucky, who's 5-0 and number 16 in the country. Basically a pick-em, 3-point favorites are Kentucky at home, which tells you this could go either way. I want to know, and I'm going to ask the audience this, and I'm going to ask Chase this as well. If Ed Orgeron, will he get fired if LSU loses this game? I get it, Kentucky's good this year. I get it, they won a national title a couple years ago. This is LSU, though. Things can change quickly at that program. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Is Coach O gone if they lose this game?
I think he could be gone if they lose this game because really, ever since winning that national championship, without the coordinators that he had, DC goes to Baylor, Joe Brady goes to Carolina, this team hasn't been the same. And so they lose against Auburn. They've already lost against UCLA. Their next 5 games, Kentucky, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas.
They could realistically
lose all 5 of those games, and this season goes from being a hopeful one to a disaster.
Yeah, so get your votes. And by the way, the Broyles Award is the award for the top assistant in the country. Mike Yurcich could win that one. Type your Ys, type your Ns. Will Ed Orgeron get fired if LSU loses to Kentucky? How things can change quickly in the sport of college football. All right, so let's get to our picks of the week here. Bets against the spread here at Chat Sports Any Given Thursday. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. Chase has his 5 picks. I've got my 5 picks. We'll start with Chase here in Week 6. Cook it up for us, Chase.
I think Notre Dame has been a good team to bet on this year because they've been disrespected by the odds makers. Now, I did take them last week against Cincinnati, and they let me down. But a pick 'em on the road against Virginia Tech, do we really think that Notre Dame is going to lose back-to-back games?
I don't see that.
They're far too talented to drop 2 straight. I'm going with Notre Dame in a pick 'em. Stanford has been the Pac-12 assassin and the Pac-12 killer and the Pac-12 beheader of the great teams in that conference.
Friday night game
for
here.
My entire lifetime. This is a Friday night game. Stanford getting 13 against Arizona State, coming off a win against UCLA. Yeah, I'm going with Stanford. Jack Lauderay went to Arizona State. Sorry, you're going to be crying tears after this one. Texas, 3.5-point underdogs. He gives me the double birds. Yeah, screw you too, kid. Texas, 3.5-point underdogs. It's all love. I love Jack. He's great. Texas, 3.5-point underdogs against Oklahoma. Now, I'm kind of swinging here, and I think you have this game as well, Harrison. I just think Texas is playing like the better team.
They are.
And Oklahoma has not impressed me at all this year because Spencer Rattler has not been it. You cannot convince me that he's the number 1 quarterback in this class.
Way.
You also can't convince me that this quarterback class is going to be any good at the college ranks because I don't believe it. So give me the Longhorns in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl getting 3.5. Ohio State, 21.5-point favorites against a Maryland team that got straight up dump trucked by Iowa. I took Ohio State against Rutgers last week. It worked. They were only 15-point favorites. I thought that was disrespectful. Ohio State continues that momentum as they continue to figure things out. Lastly, Penn State over Iowa. This is really about a pick'em game. The line has changed, as we talked about earlier. I think the Nittany Lions win. They have the slight edge defensively. I think they have the edge offensively. Yes, they're on the road. I just think that this year is different for the Nittany Lions. Give me Penn State. My upset pick. This is kind of a popular one among the geniuses like myself as well as Joe Klatt. Syracuse 6-point home dogs against a good Wake Forest team. Now, under Dino Babers, Syracuse has been a pretty solid team. They're coming off a win against, Florida State. We had picked that game
They lost that
week,
game,
right?
but they did cover.
They covered, though.
They did cover.
So I think Syracuse comes back home. They won a couple weeks ago against Malik Willis and Liberty. I like Syracuse to pull off the upset here, and I've been money with my upset picks for them at least covering. So if you want to make some cheddar, hey, hop on board.
So these are Chase's picks. He likes Notre Dame, Stanford, Texas, Ohio State, and Penn State. No over-unders. Over-unders are tough in college, man.
Yeah.
They're very, very tough.
Challenge yourself.
You're dealing with
ATS.
18 to 22-year-olds, and you're trying to figure out how many points they're going to score. It's a big challenge. All right, here are my picks. I also like Texas plus 3.5. I put some cheddar out on the money line. I think Texas wins this game.
Wow.
Bijan Robinson is the best player in this game. Spencer Rattler played better against K-State last week, but I don't know if it's enough. I think that I think Texas wins this game, and then it blows the Big 12 wide open. I think that really opens things up in this conference. Florida, is that a typo? Is that what you're saying? Does that say what's the issue? No, it's not a typo. They're 39 points favorites against Vanderbilt,
That's how bad Vanderbilt
and I'm taking it. Georgia beat Vanderbilt 62-0 I don't know if Georgia's 24 or 23-point favorite points better than Georgia. Coming off a loss against Kentucky, Florida needs to kick someone's ass. They murder Vanderbilt's one of the worst teams in the country. Notre Dame pick 'em. I'm with you, Chase. It's on the road. Blacksburg will be bumping, but that win over North Carolina in week 1 all of a sudden doesn't really mean anything for Virginia Tech. USC -3 at home against Utah. The Trojans have been just erratic, but Utah hasn't been very good. Their starting quarterback left the program, and Charlie Brewer, basically a pick 'em at home. Come on, you got to beat Utah by more than 3. And then Nebraska +4 against Michigan. I did this last week. I bet Wisconsin against Michigan. I think this is a letdown game for Harbaugh. History would tell us this is the type of game he loses, and Scott Frost has this Nebraska offense cooking finally. Night game in Lincoln. I think Nebraska and Scott Frost get a signature win this weekend. Here's my upset pick. Chase actually had it in one of his picks to cover. I think they went outright.
Ooh.
Stanford on the road at Arizona State. Guys, Stanford just beat Oregon. I mean, Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12, and Stanford just beat them.
Nice
Ever since the quarterback changed to Tanner McKee after that Week 1 disaster against Kansas State, I like what I've seen from Stanford. The offense has woken up. The defense always plays well under David Shaw. I think they beat Arizona State, and really the Pac-12 gets even more interesting after this result. So give me Stanford on the road on Friday night to beat Arizona State on Friday. So what are you thinking, Chase? You like what I'm cooking up this week?
I like Texas getting 3.5. Notre Dame, we're on the same page there. USC against Utah. I know Kyle Whittingham is a good coach, but USC has to win that game by more than a field goal,
come
right?
On. They have
Nebraska +4 against Michigan. I think Michigan's in that same category of Penn State of this just being a different year. Big Ten is certainly up.
I'm not convinced. I don't know why.
39-point spread for Florida. I always stay away from that, but
Vanderbilt,
that's how bad Vanderbilt
is
so bad that Jeremy thought it was a typo.
I was confused. I was like, did I misspell Florida? No, I didn't. It's just Vanderbilt sucks.
That's how bad they are.
I'm taking Florida. Those are our picks. Those are some of the top matchups this week. If you want more college football coverage, hit that subscribe button.